President Trump planning to go ahead with his State of the Union speech set for next week, despite Nancy Pelosi's calls for a delay. The Speaker says the Senate is trying to block her every move to reopen the government, as Mitch McConnell says not all House Democrats see eye to eye with their leader.
This will be the 9th or 10th time that in the House of Representatives we have voted to open up government by putting forth bills that have passed the Senate under the Republican leadership. But now they're not taking yes for an answer to their own proposals.
One Democrat from the state of Washington admitted the wall is not in itself a bad idea. It's been done. Another from Illinois asserted if we have a partial wall, if we have fencing, if we have technology used to keep our borders safe, all of that is fine.
Joining me is Zach Friend, Democratic strategist and former spokesman for Obama for America, and Terry Holt, founder and partner at HDMK Strategic Communications. Zach, let me start with you because I'm curious where you think the Democrats are headed. And we're in day 32 of this shutdown, and it just feels like the impasse is as stark as it ever was.
I completely agree with you, and I got to say that I'm pretty sure in 10 years there won't be a single American that'll say their life was made better because of this fight that we're having right now in Washington, D.C. Right now, what I think is that we're more interested in scoring individual political points than actually reaching a legitimate compromise. Both sides have actually put things forward, but both sides have also put things forward that the other side has said is a non-starter. So I think that we should probably then start moving towards some sort of middle ground compromise so we can actually get the government reopened.
Terry, the president wants to do this speech on Tuesday night. Nancy Pelosi asked him to delay. She said it was security reasons, though I think really that is probably not as big a concern as the fact that the government is shut down. What do you think should happen on Tuesday night?
It'd be better if he were allowed to give the speech in the House of Representatives as tradition has dictated. It was a petty ploy on her part last week to do that, and it started an exchange between President Trump and the new speaker that really didn't amount to anything except both the House of Representatives and the White House being dragged through more political mud. The trick, if Donald Trump is going to try to stage an alternate State of the Union, is how you pull that off with the same dignity, the same gravitas as he would have in the House chamber. It's a tricky thing to do, and it would be better if both sides could take that opportunity to lower the temperature and perhaps get back on track.
One of the things, Zach, last year at the State of the Union address, when the president mentioned that black unemployment was the lowest it had ever been, and no Democrats applauded, so that then the Republicans said, well, look at that. They can't even applaud for the good news. If the president goes forward on Tuesday, how do you think Democrats will try to manage, their facial expressions, especially when you have this dichotomy of the moderate Democrats, or the Democrats who just won elections in districts where they beat Republicans just barely, but they beat them and they won those seats. They might want to try to start compromising, but Speaker Pelosi is going to basically say, maybe sit on your hands?
Well, I think that she definitely has a significant control over the caucus right now, and they have been very unified the entire time, and I think that that's to her credit. I don't know right now, though, if neither side's actually allowed to ever break ranks or to actually negotiate with the other side. In fact, it's actually considered taboo to create the Gang of Eight, so to speak, again. Then I don't know where we move forward from this, because both sides right now are issuing stances that are non-starters for the other side. And I'll say, as far as the optics of the State of the Union, I still think that most people in the country really actually don't care whether or not the president gives the State of the Union. They just want the government to actually govern. It's been closed down for a month. People are missing paychecks. People are unable to. I mean, there's kids that literally are struggling to get food because their parents don't even have the money to pay for it. I think that should be what we should be focusing on, and not whether or not there's the security to have the State of the Union. I just don't think that touches most people's lives on a day-to-day basis.
Terry, the president is the chief executive officer of the United States of America and this government, and we've been showing all these reports, as Zach mentioned, food banks opening up to help FBI agents and their families get through. At some point, does that pressure ratchet up on him as well?
It does, and I think we've seen more and more reports from the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue at the White House that they're really concerned about the optics of this, but they still retain a stranglehold on their base. And really, that's the problem here for both sides. Nancy Pelosi doesn't see any downside to playing to her progressive left and becoming their champion, as Mitch McConnell said today. And Donald Trump, for all of the hand-wringing that they seem to be doing, they still are appealing primarily to their base with the wall. And that seems to have been fine up to this point. But at some point, the 2020 race looms its ugly head here. And neither side is appealing to the middle of the country. And somebody's going to have to if they're going to win the election. At
some point, you have to reach out across the aisle both ways. All right, Zach Friend and Terry Holt, thank you.
Thank you.